What's up everybody, Camero here, and welcome to part 64 of my How to Make a Pokemon Game tutorial series. In this episode, we are going to be looking at changing the battle UI. First, we're going to be looking at the default battle UI that comes with Pokemon Essentials and comparing it to the battle UI from Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green. Then, we're going to look at how we can get the sprites from Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green and put them in our game. We're going to be looking at all of the necessary art files that we have to replace. And then afterwards, we're going to have to dive into the scripts a little bit because there's a lot of minor placement changes that we're going to have to be making. So we're going to be doing that last, and eventually everything should look good. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a before and after as we dive into it. What I've got here is just a default version of Pokemon Essentials, straight out of the box. If you check the description of this video, you will find this project here, Pokemon Essentials 17.2. What I did was I just did debug to give myself the demo party. And now I'm just going to do battle, test a wild battle, and let's beat up on a level 5 wild Bulbasaur. That's pretty great, right? There he is. So here we have the default Pokemon Essentials battle UI. You'll notice that there's these gray boxes here. It's kind of bouncing up and down. We've got the EXP bar here. You can see our enemy has their own kind of gray angular box. So this is what the default Essentials battle UI looks like. We can select fight. We can see that there's all of our moves down here. They've got like a colored border. We see the type of the move. We see how much PP the move has. So it doesn't look bad, right? That doesn't look bad. But what if we wanted to modify it so it could look even better? Or maybe not even better, just look different. Well, what I've got here now is I've got Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green running. And I'm going to get into a little battle over here now. And since I'm in Mount Moon, of course, it's going to be a friggin' Zubat. Now, let's take a look at this battle UI. You'll notice that the windows are kind of a little bit more like of a rounded rectangle. They've got this sort of like black arrow bit curling down around it. It says EXP here next to the EXP bar. You will notice that the EXP bar is actually thinner or less long than the default Essentials EXP bar. The colors are a little bit different. The box is almost like a light brown. The layout of the text is a little bit different. When we select fight, oh yeah, I just tried to enter on my keyboard. When we select fight, we don't see the type in text form, and it looks like the type is actually beneath the PP, as opposed to the PP being like down here in the bottom right corner. You can see, you know, the enemy's battle UI is kind of similar, kind of angled. So I'm going to show you now the Pokemon Essentials April Fool's video that I put together where I remade the Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green battle UI. Now, let's get into a little battle here. And let's see what it looks like now. And see if we can recreate this as our final product. Look at that. What I've done, and of course I got my Shrek. What I've done is I've I've remade the battle UI, but I didn't make it from scratch. I had a little bit of help from Spriter's Resource, as well as, you know, the patience to plug in the graphics and mess around with the script values. So this is kind of what our end product is aiming to look like. Now, let's get started on how we can do that, shall we? I mentioned Spriter's Resource earlier. It's a fantastic resource for you if you want to pull different sprites from Pokemon games or just any other games. What I've done is I've actually gone here into the HP bars and battle menu and pulled this and essentially went into Photoshop and started editing the crap out of these to get my own image files. Here we see the battle box for our Pokemon. Here we see the battle box for the enemy. Here we see what the HP looks like when you're at high values, medium, low, when it's fully depleted. Here we see EXP, you know, when that's full versus when the bar is empty. A lot of good graphics here. Pretty friggin' sweet, right? Well, check this out. What I've done, you can find this in the description of the video, is I provided all of the resources that I have basically edited and put in my April Fool's video, but now you can download them all. So we're going to download all of these and we're going to put them in our game. I've also put the battle backgrounds in because I feel like if you're going to do FireRed and Leaf Green UI, then you should probably have the FireRed and Leaf Green battle backgrounds. So these are pretty nifty as well, and we'll put them in our game. So let's just walk through all of these files one at a time and put them in our game until we replace everything. Let's close this. Now, let's go into our folder here for my April Fool's video. Go to our graphics, look at our pictures folder, and then go into the battle folder. This is where all the sprites are that you're going to want to replace. Now, I'm actually going to try to do a nice little side-by-side so we can compare the before and after. So this is my Pokemon Essentials folder here for the finished product, the April Fool's video. Let's go and open up the Pokemon Essentials folder here for our project that we're currently working on. Let's go into Pictures, go into Battle, and this is all of the default art here in this folder. So you'll notice that cursor_command, this here on the left is all the available options when they're not highlighted, what they appear when you're not selecting them. And then here on the right, this is what it looks like when you are selecting them. And then same for our moves. This is what a normal type move looks like. I guess this is a water type move. So on and so forth for all of the moves. What we can do though, if we're using Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green as our example, is we don't need all of those buttons. We just need arrows on the right side for when something's selected. If it's selected, an arrow should appear next to it. Otherwise, nothing should appear at all. So these cursor_command and cursor_fight images can be replaced by the cursor command and cursor fight here. So what I'm just going to do is copy these, paste them in, and replace. I'm going to be doing this for basically all of the art files as we walk through them. Now, you'll notice the next thing that I've replaced is obviously these data boxes. Data box normal and data box normal foe. This is for your Pokemon in a battle. You can see their health, you can see the numbers of their health, their name, their level, their experience. You don't need to see all of that info when you're looking at an enemy though. So data box normal foe, you know, that doesn't show how much health they have in numbers. It only shows the bar. It doesn't show how much experience they have. So, I've got those here, Databox Normal and Databox Normal Foe. We can really just take these and copy them and paste them on in once again. Bada boom. It would probably be smart to make backups of these, but, you know, in the description, you can just download this project again, or just download these art files again from another project, copy and paste them in, essentially. So hopefully this isn't like too much progress lost. I don't think it would be. Anyway, the next one would be Databox Safari. As you can probably guess, this is the data box that appears when you're in the Safari zone. What I've done is I've just made this one here that kind of mirrors the style of the FireRed and Leaf Green windows. So let's just copy that and paste it in. Now, if we have a Safari zone, it'll look like we're playing FireRed and Leaf Green, I would think. I would hope. Now, what we've got here next is Databox Thin and Databox Thin Foe. This is the data box that appears in a double battle. You'll notice that Thin Foe is very similar to normal foe. So really what you could do is you could just copy and paste that and it would basically look the exact same, but make sure that you do have a Thin Foe in here. However, Thin is a bit different. This is the data box that appears for our Pokemon in a double battle. And you'll notice that we don't see the EXP bar, we don't see like our health values and numbers. So what we have to do is make a little bit of tweaks, and I've done that. I've made here the data box for our Thin Normal and our enemy. Well, that's not the enemy one. Yeah, that is the enemy one. You'll notice that it's the enemy one that has the arrow box here, or the arrow in the bottom right there. Okay, so let's copy data box Thin and Thin Foe and paste them in and replace. We're almost done. We do have still a good amount of files. However, these are all going to be simpler now. This is the icon that appears when an enemy or another trainer, or I think even you, are going to throw out a Pokemon, and it shows how much Pokemon are in your party. So there's icon ball. Let me go over to the next one. There's ball empty when they don't have a Pokemon. There's ball faint when the Pokemon is, you guessed it, fainted. And then there's ball status when the Pokemon is inflicted with a status. So we can just take these and copy and paste them right on in there to replace the old ones. Just like that, our game is starting to look more and more like FireRed and Leaf Green. Icon Own is the icon that appears next to a wild Pokemon if you already own it. So we can take that, copy that, and paste it on in. If you're not familiar with Control-C and Control-V, I hope you are by this point, because we are copying and pasting like a crazy amount of files up in here. The next one would be icon_statuses. As you can guess, based on the content of this image file, this is the icon that appears when there's a status effect on your Pokemon in battle. So, these are just once again taken from the FireRed and Leaf Green UI. I can copy them, paste them on in here. Now, when our Pokemon is asleep or poisoned, it'll match how it looks in FireRed and Leaf Green. Now, we have some big files here. This is overlay_command. This is what appears at the top level of the UI when you are in a battle. The next level underneath is this one here, which is actually, I believe, overlay_fight. Yes. So what I've done is I put the PP of the moves up top, the type down below, and our moves will appear here on the left. And then when we're on the top layer, we can select fight, bag, Pokemon, or run. Let's just copy and paste both of these in. I haven't forgotten about this file in the middle here, though. This file in the middle is overlay experience. This is the graphic for the experience bar. And then, of course, similarly, overlay_HP is the overlays for the health bars. This is how it will look when our Pokemon is at full health or in green versus yellow versus red. So we can copy both of these in and make sure that they match the same like format, naming, size, and everything. Cool. Now we are almost done. What we have here is overlay_lineup. This is the arrow that appears underneath the Pokeballs when somebody's changing their team layout. So icon ball empty, those will all appear above this arrow. And funnily enough, you actually don't need to worry about overlay_lineup faux. In the scripts, it actually just takes lineup and then flips it. So that way, the only graphic that really matters in your game is overlay_lineup. And then level is what appears next to the Pokemon's level. Overlay_message appears whenever there's a text message in battle. Let's just take all of these, copy them, paste them on in here. And now that should be just about all of our files. There is one more file that I want to replace, but that requires us to go up one level and scroll on down to types.png. This is what the types look like by default in Pokemon Essentials. However, in Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green, the types actually look more like this. So, since we want the type graphic, I believe, to appear next to our Pokemon's move, we can replace types.png. Now, let's just go on in, copy this, and paste it. Bada boom. There we go. Now all of our types are in. I guess what we should do is, real quick, we should also add the battle backgrounds. So let's go into our battle backs folder, and let's just add all the FireRed Leaf Green stuff. I just called them Battle BG, FRLG, Cave, FRLG, Champion, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to paste all of my FireRed and Leaf Green graphics in here. I believe that they are all of these as well, the battle bases, the enemy bases, as well as the player bases. And once these are all in, which they are just about all in, we can get started. So we've actually done some of the hardest work already, which is identifying all of the graphics that we want to replace. I've done it for Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green, and I've provided the resources here that you can then download and use in the description. However, you could use this method to replace your UI with graphics from any other game. I've shown you the Spriters resource is a very valuable resource where you could get UI graphics from Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green, and this is actually where I got the battle backgrounds as well. However, you could take graphics from Pokemon Platinum. Pokemon Platinum is also available in the Spriters resource, and if you want, you can find, the health bars and the battle graphics that they use there. If you want to go old school, really bring it back, you could go to Pokemon Crystal if you want. You could go to Pokemon Red and Blue if you want. I highly recommend that if you are interested in changing your battle UI in your Pokemon game, that you don't just remake everything from scratch willy-nilly, that you at least consult the existing battle UIs from the previous games. Like, look at that. It'd be a waste to not utilize this resource. I mean, that's why the name of the website is the Spriters Resource. So, I'm going to be linking this in the description as well. Just absolutely please be consulting some of these graphics, because look at that. You can get some really great stuff here. Anyway, now that we've already gotten the great stuff into our game, let's run it and see what it looks like. What I've got here is that Pokemon Essentials game. We've replaced all of the battle graphics. Now, let's see what it looks like now if we try to run a battle in-game. I'm willing to bet it's not going to look great, because we haven't messed with the alignment of everything yet. But let's just see what it looks like. Let's test a wild battle against a level 5 Bulbasaur once again. Let's see how this looks. I'm going to take a sip of my drink while we look. See, you'll notice that the health bar is completely misaligned. It's a little bit less misaligned for our Pikachu, but there's a bit of an issue here. Looks like The arrows here are not aligned with our options that we're selecting. Our moves are way off. The typing appears correctly up here, which is nice. The PP text isn't great here. It says type there instead of PP. So that's less than ideal either, or as well. But you'll notice that the graphics are in. Now we just need to work on getting some alignment here. Let me really quickly actually kill this Bulbasaur so we can see what it looks like when Pikachu gains some experience. Wow, look at those health bars. Good golly. See, this is why we need to look into the scripts now. Ooh, I mean, it's a start though. Oh, his EXP bar was way down in the bottom left. Oh my gosh. Okay, now, how the heck are we going to redeem this and make this look a little bit better in our game? Well, naturally, we got to dive into the scripts and we got to figure out where exactly we need to be editing values so that way everything looks more aligned. You'll notice here that the scene, or rather the script that I've selected is Pokebattle_scene constants. This is a very good starting point, so you'll just want to take this and scroll down a bit until you find Pokebattle_scene constants. This is where you can adjust the default values of a lot of alignments in your battle UI. And then additionally, you're going to want to go into Pokebattle_scene here. This is where you can adjust a lot more values. There are so many lines in this. Holy crap, it's almost like, what's that, 3,307 lines of code. Pretty good. I'm going to show you, though, the key areas for you to dive into. It looks like I'm actually near one of them already. Cool. So in Pokebattle_scene constants, this is where you can set the default width of the player's data boxes, foes' data boxes, and I'm just gonna start plugging some of these values in based on some slight tweaks that I've made to my own. So this is where I would recommend that you just kind of tweak values slightly and see how they look in game. But for example, in my Pokemon Essentials project where I recreated the FireRed and Leaf Green UI, I found that changing this to 270 and changing this value here to 180 looked a little bit better. Minus 12 here, or rather plus 12 here. Yeah, see, I'm just going based off of some of the changes that I made. I wrote down a lot of notes because there are so many values that I had to change. It is nuts. But yeah, just tweaking some of these and messing around with them until they looked a little bit better. So another one, for example, would be looking into the party balls here. The party balls are what appear when somebody or a trainer throws out multiple Pokemon, or rather, when they're showing how many Pokemon they have in their party. Jeez, I'm kind of brain farting up in here. But some of these values don't look great. Let's get back into the game and see if I can show you exactly what I mean. What we need to do now is open our debug menu, and instead of battling against a wild Pokemon, let's test a trainer battle. Somebody who has multiple Pokemon. I think Brock does. Alright, Brock, are you ready for a battle? So, you can see it's hella misaligned right now. Oh my god. Look at my 6 Pokeballs up there, and look at the overlay here. Look at his overlay. Oh my goodness. Now let's see what it looks like when he throws out a Pokemon. Oh, okay. It's not horrible, though. It's a little bit off, but it's not horrible, right? Let's make it a little bit better, though. I mean, depending on who you ask, maybe that is horrible, but I've changed these values a bit as well. So instead of minus 248, set that to minus 200. Instead of minus 142, set that to minus 150. Set this to 40. I think that this wasn't even anything. Yeah, that's not even doing anything. The gap, we want to reduce that to 20. The gap was way too big there. Our Pokeballs were way too far apart, so we can reduce that value a little bit. Instead of 248, set this to 200. God dang, I wrote down a lot of values here. If you want to remake the battle UI to be similar to something else, or similar to another game, you're going to have to go through this process as well, of just tweaking values until they look good. And this is where you would do it. So hopefully that this isn't too much of a pain in the butt. It is a little bit of a pain in the butt to go in and just kind of manually tweak values, but hey, it's kind of fun when you mess around with it and then it eventually starts looking good. So, I've already tweaked some values here for the Pokemon Party Balls. Let's see how everything looks now when we get into a battle. It should look a little bit better, I'm thinking. Battle options. Test a trainer battle. Let's battle Brock. Alright, Brock, let's see what it looks like with the reduced gap in the ball distance and everything. Look at that! Heck yeah! That looks really good now, I think. It's It's not perfect yet, though, because take a look at this. Oh, look at that health bar. Oh, gosh, look at that. But we're getting somewhere. We're making progress. Let's now look at how we can adjust these health bars. What we need to do is differentiate between how much our health bar should move and how much his health bar should move. Now, let's close this, and let's go into our script once again. And now let's go to PokeBattle_scene. This is where we need to adjust a lot of our values for our health bars and whatnot. And this is going to be a little bit crazy. I'm going to be consulting a lot of values that I modified within my own project, so bear with me here. But we need to scroll down a lot. What I do is I do Control F to search for Show HP. Show HP is the flag that tells that the script is essentially using to decide if you're showing HP or not. And if you're showing HP, more often than not, then that means it's our Pokemon. So if Show HP is true, we're setting the UI placement values for our Pokemon. If Show HP is ever false, we are modifying the UI placement values for the enemy Pokemon, or our Pokemon in a double battle, because we don't show HP in a double battle. But anyway, let's just start diving into this and see where exactly we can start. So on line 507, this is where we initialize everything, and you can see here that Show HP and Show EXP are set to false. So this is where Show HP is initialized. Now we can scroll down, and we are starting to realize here some familiar values. Graphics, pictures, battle, data box, thin. This is setting the graphics that appear in the game based on the value here for if we're in a double battle, or if we're battling against an enemy or not. So if we're not in a double battle and it's not an enemy, then we're going to use data box normal. But the battle or index in a normal battle, if it's 1, then it's using the foe. So you'll notice here that the battle or index, if it's 0, it's us. If it's 1, it's them. If it's 2, it's us. If it's 3, it's them. It's a little bit of a complicated mess, and you don't really have to edit anything there. But what you do need to do is start worrying about some of these when we start scrolling down. Refresh EXP level, I don't think we have to modify anything there. But refresh, this is where we have to modify a lot of stuff. Because, as you can see now, this is where we draw our Pokemon's name. This is where we draw the gender symbol. This is where, if it's male, if it's female, we set the placements. We can draw our Pokemon's level. We can draw our Pokemon's health numbers. Draw the shiny icon. Draw Mega Evolution icons. The owned icon, our statuses. The HP bar. So this is where we modify all of those values. So, let's just scroll down from the top to bottom and start messing with the placements of everything. So, let me look at my old script as well. Sorry, once again, for all of these, I'm going to be just messing around with things and kind of basing it off of our Pokemon. So, one thing that I've done here is for a lot of them, it's not the best code practice, but what I've done is for a lot of these fields, I've made the differentiation between if it's our Pokemon or their Pokemon. And the way that I made that differentiation was checking if Show HP is true. So, when drawing our Pokemon's name, if Show HP, that's basically saying if it's true, then put it here. Else, let's copy this once again, then put it here. Now we can have two different values, and then you gotta put an N there. But now we can have two different values of placements depending on if it's our Pokemon or their Pokemon. So what I did was I actually made this only slightly different. So instead of +8 here, I set that to +16. And then if it's our Pokemon, this is 4. And if it's their Pokemon, this is 8. So now the placement should appear a little bit better for our Pokemon names. Now, we have to do the exact same thing for the gender symbols. Let's see. Yeah, for this one, it was kind of a pain in the butt to get it to look right because I had to put another Show HP thing here. If our gender is 0, then it's male. If it's 1, it's female. And then it sets the placement based on this. But we should also probably have our placement be split up by if we're showing the HP or not. So let's put a couple more if at Show HPs, shall we? It's not the most practical, but it gets the job done. By Jove. Gosh, dang it. There we go. So, if we're a male and it's showing health, then put the gender symbol here. And if we're not showing health, put the gender symbol here. There we go. And I think what I did was, once again, just split this up to 4 and 8. There we go. That'll look a little bit better. Now let's do the exact same thing for female. If at show HP, then put it here. Else, let's put it here. And let's set these values. So this is the Y value, by the way. Hopefully I've been clear in my explanations so far, and this hasn't just been like a bad tutorial. If you look at these values, the way that it works is this is the content of the text, and it'll be the gender symbol. And then after that is the X value and the Y value. Gender X is defined up here, and you can actually mess around with this a little bit. I think I changed the values a little bit, so instead of saying plus 14, this says plus 20. But essentially, this is the X value of where the gender symbol will appear, which is, the horizontal distance. If I open up in Paint real quick, I can show you that this up here, this corner, that's X0 and that's Y0. Something like this over here, this would be, X300 Y0, and then this would be X300 and Y300. So if you want to move to the right, you increase the X value, and if you want to move down, you increase the Y value. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that all makes sense. Cool. So what we've got here is our gender symbols all basically set up. We've got the ifs, we've got our elses, and we made sure we added ends here. If you do if, else, and then don't have this end at the end, then your scripts will explode and your game will crash. So we do not want that to happen. Typically when things crash, that's bad. Crazy hot take, right? So let's look at where we draw our Pokemon's level now. You'll notice that it's loading the graphics pictures battle overlay underscore LV, which is a picture file that we've already gone in and replaced within our game folder. Let's just look at it once again because I just want to prove that we've done it. There it is. There's that little guy. Cool. Now, let's modify this a little bit so that way the X value is a little bit different. Instead of 180, let's make this 190. So it's pushed a little bit further to the right. By increasing the X value here, we've actually, moved everything over to the right a little bit. And then as a slight tweak, I believe that I went in and instead changed the width from 16 to 10, set this 202 to instead 208, set this to 4. Like I said, I spent like one day a couple weekends ago just going in and modifying all these values. It sure was fun, but the end results speak for themselves, right? I think it looks pretty good now. Now, let's figure out where we should draw our Pokemon's health numbers. If it's showing our health, or if at show HP is true, then it'll show our health numbers. So, you'll notice that this is like how much our maximum health is versus how much, or rather, our current health over our maximum health. And I believe what I did was I pushed it a little bit further to the right, so instead of 188, this is now 208. And I've moved it up a little bit. So instead of 48, I set it to 44. A higher value there would push it further down. Cool. So, I think this is already starting to look pretty good. We can draw our shiny icon here. If our battler is shiny, then we can make it so that way it'll appear somewhere else. What I think I did actually was I put another differentiation here. So if at show HP, then we want it to appear in one location. Otherwise, we want it to appear in another location. Else, and then I'll just go ahead and put the end here already so that way our game doesn't explode. I don't like it when that happens. Okay, so the shiny icon is actually in graphics pictures underscore shiny. So graphics pictures. Now let's find that. It looks like a little star. It's just this, yeah. So this is the icon that appears when your Pokemon is shiny. And we can choose the placement of that. So instead of, and shiny X is defined right here. I think I actually changed this. So yeah, instead of 206, this is actually -2. Yeah. I wanted that shiny icon to go further to the left. If you want to tweak this for your own game, though, you can increase this value and make it so that way it's over to the right more. If you want, you could change that from -2, you could change it to 100 and see how it looks. Yeah, just play around with values here. So, the shiny X, I think I increased this by a lot. Yeah, 68. And plus 66 here. So if it's showing our health, which means if it's our Pokemon in a single battle, the shiny icon should appear here. Otherwise, for the enemies, it'll appear here. And then instead, let's make this 38. Let's make this 32. Cool. Almost done. I think I did. Yeah, I didn't touch the Mega stuff at all. If you want to add Mega to your game and have the updated UI, then you should also mess around with the values here. But I didn't do that. Let's figure out where we should draw our owned icon now. If we own that Pokemon, then what we should do is make it so... Oh, this isn't already in the sprites, actually. What we need to do is not only change the location of the sprite, but we should also make it so that way the owned icon only appears if our enemy doesn't have a status condition. Check this out. I'm going to load up Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green once again. Let me just get there into the game. In Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green, if you apply a status condition to the enemy, the owned icon will not appear anymore. So, for example, let me just catch friggin' Paris, I guess. Oh, Paris is kind of rare, huh? I should catch a Zubat here. There we go. There's a Zubat. Now, let's catch this mofo. Get in that Ultra Ball. Yeah. Cool. Now, if we run into another Zubat, we will see the owned icon there on the left. Very nice. And it's that little Pokeball signifying we've caught him. Now, if we apply a status to him, you'll notice that the owned icon disappears. So, if we wanted to accomplish that effect in our game, here's how we would do it. In the scripts, we're checking to see if we own the Pokemon, as well as we should check its status. So, let's just add another if down here. If at battler.status equals 0. So, only if your Pokemon doesn't have a status condition. That's how you check that. So, if battler.status is greater than 1, such as this right here for the status icon down below, or greater than 0, if your status is equal to 0, then you're not poisoned, you're not asleep, you don't have any status conditions on you, then this will appear. Cool, pretty easy. If battler status or battler.status equals 0. And let's mess around with these values a little bit. So instead of 8, that's 18. Instead of 36, let's make this 40, so it's pushed down a little bit. Cool. I think we're getting pretty friggin' far along. Let's look at how we should draw the status icon now. I believe that when I did this, I had a pretty big if statement here. So let's do that once again. If show HP, then you do this, and you do this, I guess. And then let's do our else. Go back a little bit. Else. Oh, wait, no. There we go. Else, we do it again, but slightly different. Paste that in. And then let's just drop a little end here. I need to take another sip of my drink real quick. All right. Forgive me. It is a warm day here. San Diego, baby. Oh, wait. No, that should be self. There we go. Okay. The spacing on this is a little bit finicky at times, but we've got it. So it'll draw a status icon here if our status is greater than 0, meaning if our Pokemon has a status condition applied to them, or if the Pokemon has a status condition applied to them. If at show HP is true, then that means it is our Pokemon, and it will be placed here. Let's modify this a little bit. So instead of 24, it's 14, and instead this is 33. And then if we're looking at an enemy, this will be 14 and instead be 38. There we go. So if the enemy has a status condition applied to them, the Y value will be 38. If we have a status condition applied to us, our Y value will be 33. Cool. Now, everything should look a lot better in our game, but we're still not done. Oh, wait. All right, I figured out that syntax error. I forgot to add an end here, and that's exactly what I was talking about before by being very careful for your formatting. If you forget to put an end after the ifs, everything will just explode. So now that we've fixed our syntax error, let's get into our game, and let's take a look at what our battle UI looks right now. Like I said before, it ain't gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be getting there, I guess. So let's take a look at this battle against Camper Liam, shall we? Look at the Pokeballs. Those look pretty nice. He throws out a Diglett. It's better. You'll notice that the health bars are still way off, and the levels and names are starting to look pretty good. His level's still not looking great, but it's getting there, honestly. We still have to worry about the text boxes down here. Like, these still don't look great. The placement there is not great, but it's getting there. Our names are looking good. We just need to look into the level placement again a little bit. So let's tweak that value now, shall we? We tweaked it a little bit before, but let's tweak it once again. Our level battles here. The Pokemon's level, I think I need to just move that down a little bit, right? Let's see. I think actually I put a big old chunk of code here to differentiate between if show HP or not. So check this out. I'm gonna copy and paste this from my project, and then I'll break it down. But do not fret. The entire project here, my entire project will be available to download in the description as well. So if you want to ever just copy my file or my project and use the values there, you absolutely can, because yeah, I want everything to be publicly available here. So essentially what I did here was, if it's our Pokemon, then we use the typical placements there that look pretty good. Otherwise, if it's not show HP, then everything is moved a little bit further down. You'll notice that the Y values here, instead of 208, or the X values, instead of 208, this is 214. Instead of 4, this is 8, so it's a little bit off. 196 here versus 190, so there's a little bit of slight differences here. Let's get back in and let's take a look. Let's do another battle. All right. Trainer battle against Camper Liam. You're going to be doing this a lot, by the way. If you plan on changing the battle UI in your game, you are going to need to get the test battles down. Cool. So everything is looking actually super good right now in terms of the level placement and the names. We still have to mess with the HP bar placement, and we still have to mess with the EXP bar, but look at that. That looks pretty good, the level looks pretty good, the gender and name, those are all looking pretty dang good. So let's close this now, and let's start messing with the health bar. You'll notice right here, after shiny icon and status icon and everything, this one here is draw HP bar. This is where we're gonna need to mess with our values. Now, let me go in and take a look-see here at some of the values that need to be changed. So what we need to do is look at here where we're filling this rectangle, and we need to modify the placements here. So instead of 102, this should be 114. Instead of 40, this should be 38. And you know what? I think that what we should be doing is differentiating between show HP or not. And the way that we would do that is we would add another if here. So if we're showing our health for our Pokemon, then everything should look like this, at this placement. Otherwise, let's put in another else here. If we're not looking at our Pokemon's health, let's go back. Else, look at that, it just automatically moves on its own. It's got a mind of its own. Else, copy and paste, and go back a little bit. There we go, and let's add an end here. Oh, E-N-D. All right. So, if it's animating the health of our Pokemon, and we're showing our health for our Pokemon, the placement should be like this. Otherwise, it should be a little bit different. It should be 118 and 44. There we go. Now, you'll notice down here that there is a little bit more of the placement. This is where it's placing our HP values. The placement here needs to also be split up for if show HP, which is... God dang. I do this a lot, and I'm certain that there's better ways to code this, but this is the way that I got it to work in my game, so gosh dang it. So if we're showing the health, let's use that value. Otherwise, we're going to use some other values, and then we're going to throw in an end here. Cool. So let's take a look at how we can modify this rectangle now. Plop this sucker in. Okay. Let's delete this as well. Okay, cool. So if we're showing our health, then the bitmap there should be at 114 and 38. You'll notice that these values are matching the exact same values that we had up above. So this is meant to be like the background, I believe, for our health bars, or rather, yeah, essentially it's a little bit complicated, but the way that the health bars work is, you know, they have the graphic up above, and then there's the rectangle that has the color, and it fills and, you know, shifts and depletes based on how much damage the enemy's taken. But we should make sure that these values match. So if it's not show HP, then this is our enemy's health bar, and that should once again be 118.44. So now these values match. Now, that should look a lot better. Let's go into our game and take a look at it now, shall we? Let's go. And let's do a debug field options. Oh no, I want to do battle options, test a wild battle, and let's beat up a level 10 Bulbasaur. This is going to be a little bit trickier. Well, let's see if we can beat him up. Yes, look at that. The health bars are perfectly aligned now. And, I mean, these still aren't aligned, but if we do damage, let's take a look at his health bar as it depletes. Oh, I got a critical hit. But that looked really good, didn't it? That looked like it matched. Now, let's look at our experience bar. I'm willing to bet that that still looks awful. Oh, that looked so awful. Oh. I'm going to save so that way we can take a look at it when we get into another battle. But look at our Pikachu's experience bar now. Let's do a battle, test a wild battle. Let's beat up a level 5 Bulbasaur. Look at this. Oh man. Our experience is way off, and we need to fix that now. There is our experience, right down there. It needs to move up and to the right a lot. And I'm also willing to bet that we need to change the width of the experience, because the default Essentials experience bar was like way down and left, and it was longer than our current experience bar. So let's look at our scripts now and see how we can modify the experience bar. What we need to do is we need to go here to our experience bar and change its placement, and then afterwards we're going to need to change some other values to change its width. So let's go on in here to drawing our experience bar, and you'll notice that if at show EXP is on, then it'll do this. So we only need to worry about this one instance because we don't need to bother setting the placement of it for an enemy. We never even see the experience for our enemy. So the values that I used were, instead of +6, I did +82. Instead of +76, or here for our Y value, I set that to 70. So now it's moving to the right a lot, and it's moving up a lot. So that should already be a lot better for our placement. Now let's scroll on down here, and let's take a look at some of the values that we're using when we're animating our experience bar. You'll notice that there's a lot of 192 here. That is the width of our experience bar, but since we're using the FireRed and Leaf Green graphic, our experience bar is a lot thinner. Let's actually go in, and let's take a look at how much this is in pixels. What we got here is 64, and I believe that that's actually multiplied by 2 because we're using the 2x2 graphics. So instead of 64, that should be 128, because, you know, we're not doing the 1x1s, we're doing the 2x2s. Let's go into our games folder real quick. I'm gonna open up that file, and we can both look at it together, if I could just find it. I have so many different Pokemon Essentials projects. I've got to like figure out which ones I'm diving through when I'm opening some of this stuff. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to my pictures, I'm going to my battle, and now I'm going to Databox Normal, and there it is. Here we go. Now everything is 2x2. So the actual width of this, I believe, should be 128. There we go. It is 128. So it's 128 long and it's 4 tall. So instead of having everything be out of 192 for our length, we need to change all these 192s to 128s. We need to change it here. We need to change it here. We need to change it here. And I believe we need to change it here. So if it hits 128, then it's full. Now there is one more instance where we need to change this, and that is in a function called PBEXPBar. So let's type it in. Let's do Control F to search. PBEXPBar. There he is. There's the function. You'll notice here that it's 192 over EXP range. We need to set this to 128 over EXP range. 128. There we go. Now that's going to look a lot better, I believe, for our Pokemon. Let's go in and let's take a look-see now. Alrighty. Let's get into this battle. I think now I would like to battle... What's a good Pokemon for experience? Chansey's really good, right? Oh, what do you know? 113. Let's set that to a level 10 Chansey. So now our experience bar should look a lot better in terms of its placement. There it is. It's actually aligned with our EXP there. It's starting to get better. It's coming together, baby. Let's kill this Chansey. That was a crit. Oh my gosh, that was not very much damage. Chanseys are tanky, dude. Chanseys are tanky as hell. Hopefully this kills it. Come on, baby. Ooh, it's almost dead. And you'll notice that the health is updating and looking really good as well. It's getting there. Our battle UI is starting to look great. All right, die, Chansey. Oh, the EXP bar filled up a little bit. Let's, we can actually use debug to increase our Pokemon's experience. I want to see what it looks like when this Pikachu levels up now. Let's use debug. And I believe it was, what, HP status? No, it's somewhere around here. I must find it. There it is, set experience. To 9260. Let's set it to 9248, so it's pretty close to leveling up. Now, let's do another debug battle real quick. Battle, test wild battle, Bulbasaur level 5. Let's just beat this guy up. This should give us enough experience to level up. Look at that, we're super close to leveling up. Quick attack him. Haha, die! Yeah! And there we go. We reached full experience when it hit 128. It's looking pretty good. However, there are still some major changes that we need to make because the selection box there for picking our attack, that looks awful. So let's go back into our scripts and we need to go to the top of this. We've gotten just about everything all set up for our battle UI in the info box, looking pretty good. But we need to scroll on up here to around line 420. I know, funny number. And we need to find where we start setting our like move PP for the selections and whatnot. So here is where we're setting all of those. We can see like the PP of our moves. We can set like the bounding box ranges for everything. So let's compare that to the values that I put in my game and see if we can get it to look pretty good. So instead of 192, I actually set these to 150, so that way they're not as wide. And instead of 48, I set this to 42. And then I messed around with a lot of the values here, but for example, like the text position, instead of plus 96, so it's pushed over to the right a bunch, I set that to plus 30. Y plus 8 still looks good. I actually set this from 2 to 0. There we go. So now, this is for all the moves that we've learned. For all of our moves, let's set it so that way they have the same size. They're 150, and they're 42. 42 here. There we go. And now, what we need to do is actually swap the X or the Y positions between our the PP of our move and the actual type of our move. And we also need to eliminate this PP text here. It's unnecessary. So what we can do is actually go into this string and just delete that. We can still keep a space there. We can keep a couple spaces if we want, but it doesn't need to display PP anymore. So check this out. You'll notice that the Y value here for the moves PP appears to be 50 plus upper gap. If we wanted it to appear higher, we would change this 50 to a lower number. So that's 20 plus upper gap. Now the PP should appear a little bit higher. And instead this can be 456. So that way it's pushed to the right a little bit more. Now, what we need to do is that we actually need to set the type here. This is the type icon, because you can see type right here. We need to set this to actually be 50. So now it's swapped Y positions with our PP. And instead, actually, I think I make this 52. And instead of 416, let's make this around 424 or so. And instead, let's also do the same text position changes that we did before, where this is 30, this is 8, this is 0. So now, I'm thinking everything should look pretty good when we're selecting our Pokemon moves. The position of the PP and the position of the move type have changed, as well as the text box's size of the moves have changed a little bit, so everything should be shifted to the left a little bit more. And we also got rid of that text that says PP there, because that was kind of unnecessary. So let's go back into our game and take a look at how everything looks once again. I think we're getting pretty close to having our battle UI appear complete. Let's get in here. Let's go into our battle options and test a wild battle once again. And let's beat up a goddamn Bulbasaur. You G-dang Bulbasaur, how dare you? Look at that. It's looking pretty good. The placement of the boxes here is still not great. But look at our moves now. Look at that. The cursor appears next to our move that we have selected. We see the PP there up above. We see the move's type. That's looking pretty dang good, right? I think that's looking pretty good. It looks like we're actually highlighting these moves. And the placement is a bit more to the left, so it's not all over the place and awful looking. I think that this looks pretty good. Now, the only thing that we need to do is figure out the bounding box for these options here. And that's actually pretty dang easy. Alright, so if you want to change the width of those buttons there on the top layer, those are the command menu buttons, you have to find the command menu buttons class, and here you can actually just set the width within this. The default width is 260, but I think that's a bit too wide. Let's set that to 226. So instead what we have here is the width minus 226, and the graphics height minus 90. This staying as 260/96 is fine. Then what we want to do is we want to scroll down here a little bit and change these values from, I think they were 128 before, or 140, whichever. We want to set those to 110 and 40. And we also want to make sure that we set the values here to 110 and 40 as well. 110, 40, 110, 40. So now when we go in, the boxes there within the command menu should be less wide, and our arrow for the cursor selection should appear a lot better. Now, let's go and test this in a wild battle. Let's beat up on a wild Bulbasaur, I say. Here we go. Bulbasaur, you're going down. Now, take a look at that. It's still not perfect there with the arrows. We can modify that actually, but you'll notice that it's much better in terms of how it corresponds. Look at that. And we've got our arrows here for our moves. So let's change the arrow here for the command menu a little bit, and let's make that a little bit better. But in general, that's starting to look pretty good. It's almost there. It is so close to being there. So let's mess around with these values a little bit more, shall we? Alright, so to align it even better, I also added this +6 here to the Y, so that way it's Y plus 6. So we've got 110, 40, Y plus 6, then 110, 40, Y plus 6, 110, 40, 110, 40. Now it looks a little bit better. My problem before was that the arrows were a little bit too high up on the text, and now that Y plus 6 pushes it down 6 pixels, and everything looks pretty good now, I would say. It might not be perfect, and of course you can mess around with things and tweak the values. In fact, I had to tweak the values a lot just in the making of this tutorial. So if that tells you something, you're gonna be playing around with text values for a little bit. But essentially, now look at that. We can move around, we can go to our Pokemon menu, we can back out, we can select bag, we can go to fight, then we can select our moves, and it looks pretty good. That looks kind of close to the Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green UI. There we go. So yeah, the big takeaway from this is you are going to need to edit the values within the scripts a lot and repeatedly until everything looks good. I had to keep on shifting things a little bit and tweaking values until it looks pretty good. But now I would say we're in a state where our FireRed and Leaf Green UI looks pretty close to how the FireRed and Leaf Green UI looks in the main games. So hopefully that helps you if you want to make your own battle UI in your game. We looked at all the art files that we need to replace in our game. We looked at how to change the values for how it's aligned and move things around and such. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a very long tutorial, but hopefully that'll help you make a new UI in your game. And like I said before, if you ever want to change things to look like Pokemon Platinum or like Pokemon Crystal or any other Pokemon game, you totally can. All the links to download everything will be in the description. You can download my project within the description. And yeah, hopefully this fosters some sort of creativity in how you can remake your own battle UI. If you ever want to do anything custom, you totally can, you know. You could draw some smiley faces on stuff, you know. You can put that in your game. If you wanted all the battle UI to look like this, where he's got a little happy face, like, yeah, you can put that in your game too. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helps you. And yeah, until next time, I hope that you all have a good one.